If you Google the word God, you'll find the definition: creator and ruler of the universe, source of all moral authority, supreme being, meaning he is without limits, above all, supersedes any and everything, but we limit him. We have limited him to being a nominal God, one who is only supreme in name. Oh, baby, no. Where did our faith go? For us to believe he's El Shaddai, all up in the sky, but not trust him to be powerful or able enough in our lives, to believe he is lifesaver yet fear drowning, to believe he is light yet fear dark, to believe he is manna yet fear starving, to believe he is love yet fear wrath, to believe and yet fear, O ye of little faith, why do you doubt? You claim your faith is high key, but it's on a lower octave. Our faith is to soar as if it's on the wings of eagles, but it burrows through dirt on the wings of beetles. Who you fooling? To hold an umbrella in high regards during sunny weather, but dare not pop one open and cower indoors while Mother Nature takes a shower proves. Your high praise of the parasol is as empty as clouds post downpour. And this is what we have done to our Lord. We've limited him to being God of sunshine and not God in rainfall. Hey guys, welcome to SPM, aka Short Poem Meditations. I am B.lovd and I am so happy you guys are here with me again. Yay! Alright guys, so today's SPM is entitled Trust Issues, because frankly we have trust issues, and more specifically the trust issues that I will be focusing on is our trust issues with God. Yup, because it's actually possible for you to have trust issues with God all while still having faith in God.
What you doing, Mom?
Okay, so first thing that we have to understand is that faith and trust are not the same thing. Okay, so what is faith? Faith, the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not yet seen. Right, and this is what we have been using as a definition of faith, and I get it and it makes complete sense, but one thing that I needed was for this verse to be broken down, because frankly, I don't know about you, but I spent the majority of my life defining faith as the substance of things hoped for. And if you were to ask me what does substance of things hoped for means, I'll sit here and tell you it's you know, you're hoping for stuff, and it's the substance of it, you know. Yeah, so we're totally about to break this thing down. Okay, so first thing is we're going to look at this word substance. All right, substance here can mean confidence, can mean assurance. So I'm going to swap it out with a word that I have a better understanding of. So yeah, faith is the assurance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not yet seen. All right, cool. But even then, I want to go even further and break down this word faith. All right, and to do that, I had to go back and find the original word that was used here, which is the word pistis. Now, what does the word pistis mean? And that word means the conviction of the truth of anything. And I know most people like, that didn't help me at all, but we can break that down as well. So it's basically, this thing is true because of my conviction that it is true. So now the definition of pistis as it relates to God is the conviction that God exists and that he is the creator and ruler of all and the provider of eternal salvation through Jesus Christ. So my conviction that this is who God is, that God is God, and that God is the only one who could grant me eternal life and salvation, and he has done that through giving his only son for me. This is my faith. You can't tell me nothing. It is a conviction that I have. You can't tell me anything, all right? It's my Jesus. I love you, Jesus.
Jesus Christ! Love you, God!
Okay, so now let's try adding all of that into Hebrews 11:1. So the conviction that God is my assurance of the things that I am hoping for and the evidence of things that I don't yet see. because this assurance that I have for things hoped for, which are his promises, which is his word, that assurance falls all in the fact of my conviction that God is, that he is God, that he is ruler, that he is faithful, that he is love, that he is life, that he is truth. All of these things, and it also is the evidence of the things not yet seen. Is all on my conviction. This is true. I know this is true. There's nothing you can tell me to make it not true. So faith is something that I have. It's something that I possess. To have and to hold. I do. So the Bible is constantly telling us to have faith. Have faith. Just have faith. Have faith in God. Don't be afraid. Have faith. So we're constantly told to have it. It is something we possess. It is something that is to be in our possession. While trust, on the other hand, is more so something you do. Trust is to believe in the reliability. It is to rely. It is to depend. So as we read James, where it says that faith without works is dead, we can see the trust part in our faith is happening more so when we are exercising our faith. Okay, so let's look at Matthew 14, verses 28 to 31, and it reads, "Lord, if it's you," Peter replied, "tell me to come out to you in the water." "Come," he said. Then Peter got down out the boat, walked on the water, and came towards Jesus. But when he saw the wind, he was afraid and began to sink, cried out, "Lord, save me!" Immediately, Jesus reached out his hand and caught him. "You of little faith," he said, "why did you doubt?" So now, what I want us to focus on here is the first word in verse 28. Peter yells out, "Lord." Now, him yelling out "Lord," it's important here, or him calling out "Lord," it's important here because they weren't sure what was going on. They weren't sure who was out there, what was out there. They were scared. At the end of the day, they're in the middle of the sea. You see something approaching you. There's no bridge. It's not like it's another boat. Like, what's going on? There's something it's walking on the water. I get the fear here. Duh, it makes sense because who walks on water? Like, who does that? Jesus. Jesus does that. But anywho, so we got to a point where they're kind of like, "Yo, bro, that's Jesus." And they're like, "Oh, that's Jesus." And then Peter goes, "Lord." That is him acknowledging who Jesus is. Jesus is Lord. Jesus is God. He is the Son of God. He is the Savior, the Messiah. So Peter here is acknowledging who Jesus is, right? And then he says, "Lord, if it's you, command me to come out to you." Command me to come out to you. Oh, yeah, boys. I don't know if y'all understand. I don't know if y'all understand just how serious this verse is right here. Like, this verse deserves its own study. By golly. Oh, gosh, guys. Okay, listen. The amount of faith that we see in verse 28 is remarkable. Okay? Because we're seeing a couple of things. It wasn't a question of if it's you. This is not Peter testing God. It's not Peter going, "Well, let me see if it really is God. God, yo, if that's you, tell me to come. Because I know Jesus. Jesus gonna tell me to come. And if it's not Jesus, you ain't gonna tell me." It was not at all what's happening here. It's more so since it's you, God, like, God, that's you. So tell me to come. And that is so important because Hercules. I need to stop. Yo, B, chill out. Okay. It is important because when God speaks, something happens, something changes. If Jesus tells you to come to him on water, what happened is that Jesus just invited you into taking part in something supernatural with him. Peter can't walk on water. No one can walk on water. This is not something that we can naturally do. It's not. But if Jesus tells me to walk on water, if Jesus tells me to come, then what he did was he told me that I can do it, and he equipped me to do it. So now I have an ability to do something I normally wouldn't do. Why? Because Jesus told me to do it. He invited me to do it. When God tells us to do something, he has already equipped us to do it. He has already killed all impossibilities, all these doubts, anything that would have stopped you, that would have kept you from being able to do it. They no longer exist. Why? Because Jesus said, do it. Crazy. Whoever that was for, grab it. Okay, so we see Peter at the beginning of this calling Jesus Lord, acknowledging who Jesus is, right? And then some stuff go down in the middle, right? And then at the end, we see Peter talking again, and he cries out, Lord, save me. So at that point, he's drowning. He's still acknowledging Jesus as Lord. In the beginning, he wasn't drowning. Everything was peachy. He acknowledged Jesus as Lord. So his understanding of who Jesus is did not waver. So we see right now that he's drowning. How did he get here? He's at a place now where he's focusing on the winds. He's at a place where he is scared for his life. And as a result, he starts to drown. But wait, he has faith in Jesus. He knows who Jesus is. But why is he drowning? Why is he now drowning if he knows that Jesus is Lord? Is it because he did not make that connection between Jesus being Lord and his life? Something that we do. It's not that we don't know Jesus is Lord, but have we made Jesus' Lordship something very abstract? It's like, yeah, Jesus is Lord up here, but yet we look at our lives and we did not give him Lordship over our lives. Listen, if my life belongs to Jesus, if Jesus is the Lord and the master of my life, then whatever happens to me in my life is his business, because it belongs to him. Same way, if you were to rent a home, you rent a house, you rent an apartment, it has a landlord, right? It has a landlord. Yeah, I'm there, I'm living in the house, but it's not my house. It belongs to the Lord of that land. So when something goes on, when something breaks, when something stops working, guess what? I'm contacting the landlord. It was weird, huh? Because I dialed in this hand, but I answered the phone in this hand. Like, it just threw me. It's the OCD in me. I was like, did I really just do that? I'm like, I really dialed. Oh, house phone. Boop, boop. House phone, the ones where it's like, when you dial down here, but then y'all pray for me, bro. This is legit how my mind just works. I don't know why I'm like this. I don't know. I don't know why I'm like this. I don't. Anywho, let's come back. Right, so something goes wrong. I'm calling the landlord. Hey, landlord, something is wrong with your house. Something is wrong with your land. You are the Lord of this land. So when something goes wrong, I'm going to let you know. I'm not here to be all concerned. Ultimately, I'm not worried about nothing. Why? Because it's not mine. Do we do that with our lives in Jesus? When something goes wrong, do we go to our, so our life Lord. There it is. Our life Lord. This sounds very weird. Guess what? I'm sticking with it. We're going to keep it going for the analogy. Okay, when something goes wrong, do we go to our life Lord? Do we go to the Lord of our life? Hey, this is wrong. Hey, this is going on. Hey, I'm kind of worried about this thing right here. Hey, this thing is getting me pretty fearful. Do we understand? It's not mine. So what am I getting fearful about? It's not mine. So what am I worrying about? I'm going to come to you who owns it. I'm going to come to you who is the master of this thing. I'm going to come to you who is the Lord of this thing. Did we make Jesus the Lord of our lives? Because when we don't, we worry. We worry because it's still ours to worry for. It's still ours to worry about. But when it belongs to Jesus, it is no longer mine. So Peter here, he gets scared. He's seeing the winds hitting and he is scared for his life. Why did you not trust that your life were in good hands? Hashtag Allstate. Why did you not trust that your life was fine because you're with Jesus? And you call Jesus Lord. So make Jesus the Lord of your life. What happened here? What was the disconnection? Here's another example. We can look at Stephen, right? Peter's at a place where he's seeing harsh winds come. And this is us in our lives. This is AKA our problems. This is when life hits. This is when life comes at us, right? That's our wind. That's our wind, that's our waves. Peter's seeing this and he gets to a place where he gets scared. You have Stephen, who is about to get stoned to death, right? They're both at a place where they can view their lives as in danger. One of them panics, gets scared, and starts to worry and gets anxious, while the other one is at peace. Stephen is at peace while he's about to get stoned to death, so much so he sees the glory of God. Stephen's not worried about a thing. He's not worried. He knows who his life belongs to. He knows who the Lord of his life is. He did not just make Jesus this abstract Lord, but he has made him Lord of his life. So he's okay with what's about to happen. When we look at Philippians where it says, don't worry, don't be anxious about anything, but pray about everything. Tell him what you need and thank him for what he has already done. This right here speaks of faith and of trust. For me to be at a place where things are coming, things are hitting, where I'm starting to feel worried, and that is a part of life. That is a normal part of life. So much so in Matthew, it says how tomorrow has its worries of its own. Tomorrow got its own problems. So tomorrow has its own problems. This tells that every day will bring its own issues. There will be something to face. So this is something that is normal. A feeling of worry coming is something that is normal. A feeling of fear coming is something that is normal. A feeling of anxiety coming is something that is normal. It is important that we acknowledge feelings are normal and feelings are natural, and not to start to demonize people for emotions. That is wrong. That is wrong. We're not told to not have emotions. We're told to not be overcome by them. We are being told not to have them to evolve into something more. For them not to become who we are, for them not to dictate how we think, for them not to keep us in this dark state. See, when that feeling of worry starts to come, I'm not going to dwell in this place of worry. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pray about it. And I'm going to tell Jesus what I need. And then I'm going to thank God. Why? Because I'm going to remember what he has done before. When worries start to come before. And me remembering what God has done propels my faith to know that God is able to do. Bam. That's what that is. So when these feelings of anxiety come up, it's that moment, oh, let me go ahead and give this off to God. That feeling approaching, it's a natural feeling. We can't kill ourselves for natural feelings. The thing is, we have a decision to make whether we want to dwell in a feeling or not. And that right there is the issue. So when now these problems come up, because problems do come up, and it's important for us to acknowledge these problems. All right, acknowledge them for what they are, not to push them to the side. Look at what the Bible said. That's not real peace. That's you ignoring the problem. All right, that's not peace. See, we have this mindset where we think, if I have peace in God, that means the winds are absent. No, it means in the midst of the wind, you're still. In the midst of the wind, you're at peace. It is your nevertheless moment. Nevertheless is peace. And guess what? Nevertheless cannot happen unless you know crucifixion is coming. All right? Jesus was at a place where he was praying so hard, his sweat turned into blood. And then what he does, he goes, nevertheless. The crucifixion didn't go anywhere. That was still there. He still had to face that. Death was still coming. He still had to face that. Those lashes were still coming. He still had to face that. The crown of thorns were still coming. He still had to face that. That tomb was still coming. He still had to face that. Knowing he still had to face that, he went what? Nevertheless. What does that mean? It means, God, I know what I want, but I know what you want. And I am trusting you, and I am trusting your will. Listen, when we don't trust the will of God, essentially what is happening is we don't trust the love of God. Do you trust the motive of God? Do you trust that God actually loves you? Do you trust? Or are you looking at problems, or you looking at things and you're kind of going like, man, God can't be real. God can't really love me if I'm going through this. Listen, you can't tell me that the Father did not love the Son. You can't tell me that Jesus don't love us. We live in a broken world. Things are going to happen. This mindset that everything is to be rainbows and butterflies when we walk with Jesus is a misconception. It's while the winds are popping, while these waves are rocking, while all these things are coming to threaten my peace, to threaten my joy, to threaten my life, to threaten my love, all these things are coming. Guess what? Jesus is still with me. These are things that I can handle. It doesn't mean that there won't be pain that comes with it, but it's not a pain that is to kill you. And Jesus gives you a peace, and Jesus will give you hope, and Jesus will give you rest, and Jesus will give you love, and he will shelter you in his love. But do we trust him? Do we trust him? You know crucifixion is coming, but do you trust the will of God? Do you trust that God still loves you, although crucifixion is coming? Do you trust him enough to go, nevertheless, God, let your will be done and not my will? Let what you want to be done and not mine. Can we look into the face of the things that are to come and give them away to God and reside in God's peace? It takes trust to do that. We can look at Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They're here, their face was being thrown into a furnace because they refused to bow down because of their faith in God, because of their faith of who God is. They can't bow down. To the point where Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, man, these names are super long. Man, I'm just calling them the Migos. To the point where the Migos, right, say, God is able to save us, and he will save us. But if he chooses not to, we still won't bow down. Our faith tells us that God is able, because our faith acknowledges who God is, but our trust tells us he is sovereign, and he may not choose to do what I would prefer, but I know it's what is best. Can you trust God to be sovereign, to make these decisions, and to the point where you're okay with it, to the point where you're content, to the point where you're at peace? See, because that's trust. That right there is trust. For me to know who he is and allow him to fully be that in my life. And that's why a lot of us, we have faith, because there's no wavering in who we know God to be. But us allowing him to fully be that in our lives scares us, because there's these things we don't want to happen. There's these things we don't want to experience. But do you believe that all things work for the good of those who love God and are called according to his purpose? Because if you believe that, then let him fully be God over your life. Can we trust the love of God? Can we trust the will of God? Can we trust the motive of God? Can we trust God? Can we allow him to be Lord of our lives completely and totally? God, I surrender it to you. God, I give it up to you completely and totally. That while we're in the midst, we can see the glory of God. Because yeah, I may be in suffering, but guess what? This is the prequel to the glory. There's glory that is to come. Can you see that glory? And you can't see it unless you can trust him while you're in it. Please Allow yourself to be loved by God. Allow yourself to be loved by self, and allow yourself to be loved by others. Till next time, guys.